Hey guys, how you doing? This is Juan with Liberty Graphic Designs. Don't go anywhere. Today we're going to be showing you how to actually come up with the size for your print on the skinny tumblers. Okay, so I know many of you have already seen the video that I got out there on printing tumblers. And one of the questions, or the number one question, is how big of a image I'm printing. Actually, the question is, how big is your paper? But I'm assuming they mean how big is the image. So this is how you know how big you need to print it. So measure from the top of your tumbler to the bottom. And as you can see, I got 8 inches on this one. So that's going to be your tall, or the image. That's going to be how high you want your image. Now to find out the length. So now we're going to measure all the way around. We're going to measure all the way around the image. And as you can see, let me fix it so you can see it. It gives us 9 1/4. So you have 9 1/4, and this is for a straight tumbler, okay? The reason why I say use this tape is because if you have a taper tumbler, you're gonna get two different measurements. The one on the top is gonna be greater than the one on the bottom. In this case, we have a straight tumbler, so we're gonna print our image 8 inches tall by 9 1/4. Now, if you want to overlap it a little bit, you just give it a little bit longer. Like for example, I'm printing mine at 8.1. and my length, or the circumference, at 9.3. That way it gives me just a little extra for me to overlap it, or just in case if the image shrunk when it was printed. I am not going to show you the printer part because I'm using an Epson F570, and as you know, all the printers print slightly different. So if I give you the specs for my printer, you're going to be off, because my printer prints on 24-inch paper, which is another question that they ask me. What kind of paper are you using? I'm using a 24-inch paper. This is made by Epson, 24-inch. So that's the paper that I use. And that's the reason why I'm not going to show you, the printer. Like for example, if you have an Epson an Epson 7710, Epson 7720, or 7610, 7620, something like that, a printer that you converted over to sublimation, it's not going to be the same as the true sublimation printer. So if you have a Epson, if you have a Sagras, you already know your printer. That's why I'm not going to go into detail with the printer, because of the difference in printers. So now that we know how long our printer is going to be and how high, then you go ahead and print it. When you already have your size and you printed your paper, go ahead and cut it and trim it. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So let me cut this real quick. Okay, so here I got the image already trimmed. As you can see, it's right on the edge of the image. So so that's what you want to do. Just cut it real close to the edge, as close as you can, where it's not showing any paper or white paper. Okay, so another thing you're gonna need is this heat tape. And if you need any heat tape, or if you need anything in this video, is going to be in the description below. If you need any heat tape, like for example this one, I have a link in my description below of the heat tape. Now you can also use beaver paper for sublimation paper, and it's also I think I also have a description, a link in the description below. So next step, really important, make sure that your tumbler is clean. If it's not clean, if you've been grabbing the tumbler, make sure you wipe it clean with a little bit of alcohol, and then that way you don't get any fingerprints, because we have residue on our fingertips, and that'll show up on the sublimation sometimes, not all the time. So then grab your artwork and wrap it around the tumbler, and you'll see I'm right there. See that? and I'm gonna overlap just a little bit. Okay, so right here, if you want to have your tumbler nice and level at the edge, and this is at the top, okay, so we're not worrying too much about the bottom. If there's a small rim, don't worry about it. So you want to have a straight edge on the top. So what you want to do for that is you put it on top of a table or a flat surface. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm putting it on I know you cannot see this step, but that's what I'm doing. I'm putting it on top of the table like this. So you will set it on top of the table, and the paper will run down even with the bottom or with the top, because this is the top of the tumbler, and that will create a nice flat what do you call it? It will be nice and flush. Now I only use like 3 pieces of tape. Somebody put a comment that I needed to tape all the way down. You don't need to tape it all the way down, trust me. It's not necessary. You just want to hold the paper in place until you put the wrap. Now I don't know how good you're gonna be able to see it on video, but you'll see how much I'm overlapping, and that's what I was telling you. When you go to measure your paper, give it just a little extra if you want to overlap it. So it's gonna be really hard for you to see it on the video, but I'm overlapping just literally just a hair, just a little bit. Okay, so I normally just put 3 pieces of tape. I'm gonna go ahead and put another one here because it's lifting. Okay, so I normally just put 3 pieces of tape, but in this case I'm gonna put 4 because right here I had it was lifting just a little bit. Now before you move on to the next step, inspect your work, and I don't know if you can see it, but that's showing up a little too high, just a tiny bit, just a little bit. So bring it back to a flat surface and make sure that's nice and straight, just like that. Make sure it's nice and straight. So the next step is to get one of these things, one of the shrink wraps, and you're gonna put your tumbler inside of it. I'm just gonna put it right in between so you have enough overlap on both ends. Okay, so here's a tumbler in the shrink wrap, and if you guys need any shrink wraps, you can find them on my Etsy account. And then you're gonna need a heat gun, and then just shrink it. And at first it's gonna look like it doesn't work, but just move it around so you can shrink it, and you'll see how it looks like really nasty like that, but it'll shrink all the way through. Make sure you keep moving it around so you get all the wrinkles out. That's it. That's all you need. You can see it's nice and tight. You can even see one of the tapes came off. See that? Here's 1, 2, 3. The 4th one that I put in there, I must have not put it right because it came off. It's over here now. And now all you gotta do is just put it in the oven. I'm actually using a house oven, so if you have one of those small toaster ovens, you can use that. There's no problem. Just make sure that your shrink wrap is completely tight, you know, all the way around, especially on the top edge. This is where the top of the tumbler is. Make sure it's nice and tight all the way around, like this one is. Okay, so now I'm gonna put it in the oven at 375 for 4 minutes. Okay, so that's it. 4 minutes have passed. I'm gonna open the oven a little bit. One of the things that you want to look for, let me stop this. Oh, I turned the oven off. One of the things that you want to look for is whenever you look at the sublimation, if you can see the sublimation right through or right through the paper, that means that it's already sublimation. If you don't see the image through the paper, leave it in there just a little longer. This one looks a little light. It doesn't look like it's sublimated all the way through, but I'm gonna leave it like that because I already turned the oven off. This is pretty hot, but make sure you wear gloves, okay? I'm just gonna run it on the floor to cool it down. If you can see the sublimation through the paper, that means that this has been sublimated correctly. I can barely see it right there, so this might not work, but let's open it and see. So again, this was a 375 for 4 minutes. So still pretty hot, still very hot. Okay, so in the first video I made, if you guys remember, this thing was getting stuck to the bottom of the tumbler. The reason was because I left it in there for 4 minutes, but I had it at 400 degrees. So that's why I went down to 375. I don't think I need my gloves anymore. Huh, I probably do. Still pretty hot, but I can handle it without gloves. So the image that you saw me putting in here, this right here, it's this is actually Waco, Texas. This is one of the bridges here at Waco, Texas, and right behind, no, you can't see it, but right behind here, it's actually, I can see it in dark spot right here. That's the stadium with the Baylor Bears. That's where they play. So let's see what this looks like. Look at that. This thing is perfect. It's amazing. It looks nice. So I can see where my paper was off a little bit right here on the top, because it actually looks like a cloud. Looks cloudy. And then right here, it doesn't match. It's off a little bit. Yeah, if I would have left it there another 10 seconds, it would have worked just perfectly. And then there's the seam. So this seam happens when you overlap it too much, and that's what it was. So that one was overlapped just a little too much, more than I really wanted to. But there you go. That's what it looks like. There's my, not my logo, but my business name, Liberty Graphic Designs. And my logo is actually on one of the piers for the bridge right there. And obviously on the other side I put Waco, Texas right there. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. The main thing was, you know, telling you what kind of paper I'm using, what size I'm using, or how to come up with the size. Remember, measure from the top to the bottom, or bottom to the top. That'll give you the height, and then measure all the way around the tumbler. That will give you the length, and just print it out. That's what it looks. That's what it's gonna look like. So thank you for watching, guys. This was a pleasure. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Guys, if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down twice. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and ding the bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. If you don't want to ding the bell, don't ding the bell. Just subscribe. It'll help out a lot. Thank you, guys, and I will catch you on the next one. If you have any questions, don't forget to drop them on the comments below. And like always, it was a pleasure. I will catch you on the next one. Thank you, guys. See you later. Bye bye now.